Take consideration, we have so many different, let's say, mini PCs out there with Intel and AMD in the inside. Let me know, what is your favorite? Are you AMD or Intel fan? I'm just going to be an Intel fan forever, even if AMD is having sometimes a better price, let's say, performance. So what I did was quite surprising with my model, that it already got like disassembled. So you can just slap in the hard drive, and the configuration is quite interesting. The same goes like this. What the heck is going on with this thing? It's just actually falling apart or what? No, just kidding. No, the thing is, when you're looking at this particular product, so inside we're going to find a 2.5-inch drive. It's very interesting, but also you can switch out like the NVMe and or the SSD, and we're having dual channel memory. So it's one of the things that I've noticed with previous models that's very difficult to get into the device itself. So, but you can just add your drive instantly if you want to. We need to remove the piece of plastic. Then of course we're having the paperwork. This is the memory compatibility list even. That, yeah, that's kind of interesting that they even give you this. It's very good if you want to upgrade or change it out. 32 gigabyte. It's going to be more than enough from this point what I'm going to be using it for. And of course a tiny toilet paper manual with some basic explanation. So in here we're finding the power supply, and let's check out how beefcake this thing is. Is it going to be a serious one? Ooh, yeah, this is a very heavy one. So you can see this thing works on 19 volts, 6.3 amps. So there's a serious power supply they're getting. But okay, so let's put this thing back together, and I'm not going to add a drive in this part of the video, maybe later on with some different configurations like emulation. And yeah, let's check out what we're getting when it comes to the overall performance. Let's do a chit chat about the product information, and later on we're going to do a deep dive into the specs. So first of all, the name of the product is just Mini PC. That is really creative. Model number, we have the AM08, but this is the AM08 Pro. What it actually means, later on we'll see it in the specification list. Color, silver, gray and black. RAM is kind of interesting. We have 4, but we also have 6. I would say like 4, 8 or 16. Now we're going to get 4, 6, 8, 12, 16, and this is even the 32 gigabyte. It's kind of interesting if you want to do some more, let's say, creative working. The 32 gigabyte is going to be very handy. So internal storage capacity is even a 1 terabyte. I'm getting here over here the 512 gigabyte, and the specification list is going to be an EU due of the specification of the power supply. The side cover, the way how they actually made it, is quite interesting. So you don't need to rip this thing apart or unscrew everything. You can see there are 2 magnets over here. And yep, magnets. And next up, we're going to just slide it in here. And it will automatically close up. The magnet is quite strong, not to the point that it's going to be absolutely impossible to open it up. But the way that they constructed this is very interesting. Something I've personally never seen before. At the front we do have 2 USB port 3.0 and headphone jack out, and even a USB-C. And I'm always very happy to see those USB ports because I do use them a lot. It's not only for your keyboard and mouse, but also when you just want to plug in, let's say, a card reader or something else. It's super handy, very convenient. And then we're having the input for the power supply, the RJ45 connection, 2 HDMI out and 2 another, let's say, USB 3.0. That makes in total 4. Okay, so one of the cool features this thing actually has, that we can just auto-tune it. And I mean particularly you can just switch between the power. You're having the performance mode, auto mode. And the switch in this thing feels kind of nice. And of course it also uses for an on-off switch. This is also another very cool feature that's pretty damn awesome. But let's put them on performance mode, because that's actually what we're going to be testing out. But one of the features of this device is of course the RGB lighting on top. This thing looks absolutely stunning, I can tell you that. But if you're having a completely RGB setup, this thing will absolutely fit the profile perfectly. So another thing I just wanted to showcase, I already shown you in the way how this actually works, when you're just going to be moving it in different kind of performance modes. But it was also kind of cool, and a very cool detail when you're just switching between the performance modes. Also the LED of the power switch will switch between blue, green and red. Okay, so when it comes to the older games, this will run just perfectly. Outrun 2006, one of my favorite games to test and play. This will run on 1080p without any problem, and every setting that I can find upscale to the highest setting. Nevertheless, this is going to be absolutely an overall great performance and no issues for a chipset like this. But if you just want to play an indie game or a two-dimensional beat 'em up, like I'm doing over here, this runs perfectly without any hassle on 1080p and all settings set to high. Moving on to a more demanding game, and that is already an older game, Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, and this will run on 1080p with every setting to high or ultra without no problem whatsoever. Will the Crash Bandicoot crash the system when it comes to performance? No, not at all. It's going to be absolutely an overall great performance. 1080p, everything set to the highest settings, and the system runs it. But we're not hitting the 60 FPS. Another game I also love to try is Dead or Alive 6 on the Windows platform. Oh, and this game is quite difficult to play when it comes to like the 5000 series of AMD. But with the 6000 we have such a big improvement in the overall, let's say, performance of the game. It runs perfectly on the highest settings, full HD, and it looks absolutely astonishing.
Get ready, fight!
But PlayStation 2 emulation is no problem for this chipset, and we will have a lot of fun playing some old school PlayStation 2 games on this mini PC. But the next thing I want to do, let's move on later on to the PlayStation 3, but also there we're going to have an amazing performance. So one of the things I've noticed with the 6000 series compared with the previous model is that the loading speeds are so significant faster and you don't need to wait a very long time. It also implements when it comes compiling shader situation. It works all so much better than all the other, let's say, mini PC I've tested out for AMD. The 6000 is absolutely the sweet spot for PlayStation 3. It's just going to be a native resolution or the normal resolution, no upscaling whatsoever.
That will be your ruin.
Tonight will be your last, Prince of Darkness. You are going to die. Back to hell, demon.
Another system I'm really looking forward to check out is the PlayStation Portable, where we can upscale this thing to the maximum upscaling and even adding some extra filter over it, making the game look absolutely stunning. And on a bigger display this looks finally great. But another thing I've noticed when getting into cutscenes, we have a minor drop to the 52 frames, but the overall, let's say, performance is quite good. Another system I just wanted to check out is Sega Dreamcast, where we can upscale it to 4K without any problem whatsoever. The weird thing is with Dead or Alive 2, I had some strange, let's say, artifacts going on the characters and some places on the stages. So it was not something problematic, but somehow there was a compatibility issue, maybe due of the combination of chipset I'm using. Because when you're looking into the Sonic Adventure 2 that I wanted to test bench, that works without any problem. So that's kind of interesting, but also kind of strange.
Assume level 1 defense formation.
Hold B button down to lock on. Release it to fire a homing.
Level 1 security door breach. Emergency formation. Intercept intruder. Level 2 security door breach. Level 2 security door breach.
So one of my favorite games, but also systems I want to check out, is F-Zero GX. This is absolutely a very cool looking game to benchmark, but also to play. By the way, so when you're looking at it, it's going to be upscaled to an eternal resolution of 4K, making this game look so amazing. And yeah, when you actually lose playing this game on the mini PC, it seems to be working just fine.
3, 2, 1, go! You got boost power!
And then of course we're having the Wii system that has a lot of hidden gems when it comes to game for emulation. Upscaling it to 4K, also here we do have an overall good performance. And the chipset of the 6000 is a quite interesting one if you want to check out some more emulation. Of course we have some limitation, but we're going to talk about it later on. Because with the Xbox 360, here we're having absolutely the problem that we cannot really emulate this. This is just not something we can do. Maybe in the future with newer AMD chipsets, but for now, with this particular model, it's a big no-go.